Bluey and the Healer family have captured hearts around the world with their loving, playful, and sometimes crazy antics. It's not just kids who love the show either. Adults also fall for the charm of this relatable family, albeit of the dog variety. Yeah, that's right. Today we're heading down under and covering the entire story of the popular Aussie show, Bluey. But before we head into the recap, let's have a quick intro of the main cast. First up, we've got Bluey, the 6-year-old healer pup who always comes up with something fun to do. Then there's her younger sis, Bingo, who's quieter and a little more gentle. Basically, the exact opposite of Bluey. Next up, we've got their mom, Chili, who's a caring mother and is ready to join her daughter's pretend games. And finally, we have the big guy, Bandit, Bluey and Bingo's dad. He's funny and always tries to sneak in some life lessons, only for the kids to completely ignore them sometimes. There are a lot of other characters in the series, but we'll come to them soon enough. The first episode, Magic Xylophone, starts off with Bandit pretending Bluey's a piano, who jiggles and giggles while having fun with their dad. When it's Bingo's turn, Bandit uses her as a pair of bongo drums, and the whole family starts dancing like there's no tomorrow. Just then, Bingo stumbles upon a magic xylophone, which can freeze somebody simply by hitting it. And unfortunately, Bandit turns out to be their first victim. The sisters start pulling pranks by making him pose with antlers, a feather boa, and other silly things. Poor Bandit. Soon, the girls start arguing about whose turn it is, and Bandit uses it to grab the xylophone, freezing Bluey. He drags her outside, turning her into a garden gnome, and goes to get the hose. However, he leaves the xylophone behind, and Bingo unfreezes her sister.
It's got a little bit of felt pen on the fingers, probably from some mischief. I better get the hose.
As soon as she's unfrozen, she tries to grab the xylophone again, only for Bingo to freeze her as she isn't sharing turns with her. But after getting a promise from Bluey that she'll be fair this time around, they team up and prank Dad yet again.
Freeze! We tricked you! Now, Bingo!
In the end, the sisters gleefully watch Bandit spraying water on his face, and with that, the episode comes to an end. Now to episode 3, Keepy Uppy. It's a beautiful day with hot air balloons floating around the healer's place. Bluey wakes up and finds an unblown balloon under the bed. She blows it up before letting it loose in front of Bingo and her mom. Chili suggests that they play a game of Keepy Uppy, which is stopping the balloon from hitting the ground, as if their lives depend on it. The game begins and the girls start tapping on the balloon like it's a do-or-die mission. However, the game starts to get boring when Chili leaves to cook, and that's when Bandit shows up to make the game interesting by, guess what, sabotaging their mission. He pretends to read the newspaper and grabs Bingo while Bluey struggles to hold the balloon. However, Bandit's not stopping there. He switches on the fan, and then uses a leaf blower to blow away the floating ball. Later, the balloon gets stuck on a tower of blocks that eventually is swept outside, thanks to Bandit's shenanigans.
He's heading for the fan! Oh no!
Since the grass can burst the balloon, Chili taps on it, and the balloon flies to their neighbor's yard. Luckily, their friendly Labrador neighbor, Lucky, and his dad, Pat, team up and stop the balloon from falling, only for Bandit to spoil the game. The balloon pops. The girls are bummed since that's the last balloon that they had, but Chili remembers that they still have one big blue balloon. They blow up the Bandit balloon through his tail and let him flop around before crash landing on his family. I guess it's a little hard to play Keepy Uppy with a fully grown dog. The next episode, Shadowlands, kicks off with Bluey and her friends Coco and the cupcake-loving dachshund Snickers playing the game Mrs. Wolf. As usual, Coco pulls a quick one by tricking everybody into walking right up to her. Bluey's annoyed and they decide to play Shadowlands. The rule is simple. If you're within the shadow, you're safe. But if you're out of the shadow, you're out. So the trio starts hopping from one shadow to another until Snickers hits a sunlight gap that's just too big to jump.
Whoa, I can't jump that far. Look at my little leg.
Coco wants to cheat again, but Bluey's not having it. Instead, Bluey comes up with a plan to use her and Coco's bodies to form a ladder and help Snickers jump to the other side. As the trio starts hopping around, one of the cars drives away, leaving Bluey stranded. Once again, Coco wants to take a shortcut, but Bluey's against it. Luckily, a passing bus creates a perfect moving shadow, and Bluey joins her friends. Eventually, they get stuck on this tiny shadow island with nowhere to go. Well, to make things harder, their moms start luring them with cupcakes. Snickers and Coco want to change the rules, allowing them to step out of the shadows. And surprisingly, this time, Bluey actually gives in. But just when they're about to take their next step, the clouds roll in and cast a huge shadow. Wow, a massive one. While running, Snickers falls, but Coco and Bluey fetch him and finally make it on time.
The crocodiles are coming!
The trio start giggling and realize that the rules make the game interesting. As they play another round of Mrs. Wolf, Bluey's confident that Coco will pull one of her tricks, but this time she does it in the right way, leaving Bluey surprised. In episode 7, Barbecue, the healers are having a barbecue at their house with Bluey and co, pretending to cook right alongside them. Everybody's having a great time. Bandit's sipping a drink and telling a funny story to Uncle Stripe, who has come with his family. Meanwhile, Bluey is cooking sausages for her cousins Muffin and Socks, while Bingo's lying on her relaxing chair. But after seeing Chili bring out a salad, Muffin and Socks ask Bluey for a salad too. So Bingo grabs Bandit's hat and uses it as a makeshift salad bowl. Still, the kids are not satisfied and demand a green capsicum salad.
You need to put salad in it.
Bingo starts collecting some green leaves, not before yeeting a bug right onto Bandit's face, making him spill a drink. Then Bluey asks for a yellow capsicum, and Bingo throws a tennis ball to grab some yellow petals. It works, but it bounces back and knocks over Bandit's drink again. Now this time, Muffin wants a red capsicum. Bingo's frustrated but still heads downstairs to whack the tree branch and picks the red flowers. However, a seed pod flies off, hits Bandit, and yeah, there goes his drink again. At this point, he should just give up on the beverage. Bingo's got a lot messier, and just when she's about to chill in her chair, the kids demand salad dressing. She hurries downstairs, grabs Bandit's water bottle, and tries to use the hose to get some water, but she loses control and ends up blasting water right on Stripe's face. With the help of Bandit, she turns off the hose and mixes up some muddy water. However, this has left the deck with a lot of muddy footprints, and Chili asks her to clean it up.
More sausages, please, Bluey.
Finally, she returns to her relaxing chair, and it's time to dig into the real sausages. By now, Bingo's had enough and asks everybody to appreciate the salads too. The episode wraps up with Chili thanking Bingo for remembering it, while Bingo finally gets to munch on the sausages peacefully. Moving on to the next episode, Spy Game. We see the healers, along with Border Collie, Dalmatian, and Beagle buddies chilling at the park for a barbecue. Yeah, another barbecue, but it's more like a bunch of friends and their kids hanging out this time. The parents are chatting and probably pretending they don't hear the chaos bubbling nearby. The younglings are busy playing a spy game, with Bluey and her buddy Mackenzie collecting hair samples like a spy agent. They get past the guards, Chloe and Honey, and meet up with their potion master, Sparkleshot, aka Bingo, who's mixing an adult-controlling potion. The duo goes for more hair hunting, only for Bingo to disrupt their mission by going for a bathroom break. Bluey tells her that she can no longer play with them if she doesn't do the job. She informs her friends that Bingo won't be coming back, and someone has to take the role of the potion master. But no one's interested in being a potion master, and worst of all, Bluey's stuck being a guard.
You do it, Bluey. I'm off to spy. Hey, what? But I'm a spy!
When Mackenzie tries to use the potion on Chili, it instead affects Honey's mom and a full-on power struggle begins. Seeing this, Bluey runs to Bandit and complains that no one's playing the game properly. Bandit advises her, and later she makes up with Bingo, inviting her back to the game.
Do you still want to play? Well, can I get to do a spy? Well, no.
She declares that Bingo's in charge of the potion, and everyone is fine with it. Bingo takes control of the parents, and the barbecue goes up in flames. They manage to extinguish it. But the kids who have already done their naughty work start giggling, ending the episode. The next episode, Butterflies, starts off with Bandit setting up a swing as the girls are hyped up to play Butterflies. Their next door neighbor, Judo, joins them, and Bluey shows them how to play the game by starting as a caterpillar, hopping on the swing, and finally coming out as a butterfly. But just when Bingo's ready to go next, Judo stops her, telling her that she will be the butterfly. Bluey and Bingo become the catchers while Judo does her butterfly thing. When it's Bingo's turn, Judo's annoyed with Bingo for taking too long, and decides to ditch her. Even Bluey runs behind her, leaving Bingo all alone.
No one to tickle his toes. Wait for me! No one to blow his nose.
Bingo is heartbroken and goes back to her cocoon. Back with Judo, she forces Bluey to play Phones, which in reality is a one-girl talk show. Yeah, this girl is one bossy little chow-chow. Before Judo could notice, Bluey slips away and apologizes to Bingo. After singing a bug song, the sisters reunite and Judo starts looking for Bluey.
No one to blow his nose. Ching, ching.
She finds Bluey with her sister and yells at her for leaving her behind. Bluey makes Judo realize her mistake, and they eventually make up. Now, everyone wants to be the butterfly catcher, so they decide to make Bandit their next victim. Poor guy got absolutely jump scared. Episode 19, The Claw, starts off at a restaurant, where Bingo tries her luck at the claw machine, which ends up eating her money, along with her happiness, by giving nothing back. They return home, and Chili tries to cheer them up by role-playing as a claw machine. Still, Bluey's not having fun as there's no thrill in it. Bandit enters the scene and takes over as the new claw machine. The girls start enjoying it, but Bandit asks for coins to play the game, unlike the Chili machine.
Cha-ching.
This machine doesn't take imaginary coins. go and get a job.
So the girls do all the house chores and make a quick buck to fund their fun. At first, they lose a couple of rounds, but eventually start winning, and the girls are hooked again. Then Bandit gives them a bonus block that says ice cream for tonight's dinner. He also gives them the option of trading the dolphin for a coin, and Bluey's all in. She convinces Bingo to give up the toy for the ice cream, only for Bandit to scam them, claiming that the block is too heavy to lift. Hearing this, Bluey tickles the prize out of him and steals it. The girls start enjoying their ice cream while a bandaged Bandit is questioning his life choices as a parent. Too late, buddy. In the next episode, Fairies, we see Bingo setting up a love domino for Bandit as a gift. She rushes to get her dad, but Bandit's busy with stuff and snaps at her. Bingo's devastated and simply knocks the dominoes down herself. Later, Bandit starts looking for Bingo, and Bluey finds out that everybody's tails have been braided. They realize that it's the work of the fairies and prepare themselves to counter it. However, the fairies are 2 steps ahead, as Bluey's covered with stickers and Bandit's hands are stuck inside a pair of skates. Not only this, they turn their house into a booby-trap playground and also leave behind a drawing of Bandit. They realize that the fairies want Bandit to dance in front of the letterbox, but Bandit's not liking this. He taunts the fairies, which affects Bingo, leaving her frozen. With no other option, Bandit caves in and starts dancing in front of the crowd. Surprisingly, the Fairy Council approves of this dance, and Bingo's back to normal. The episode ends with Bingo running inside to grab a torch, only to find a real fairy arranging the love domino. Looks like all this fairy stuff does actually exist. Well, at least in this universe. Moving on to the next one, Bumpy in the Wise Old Wolfhound, we see Bingo feeling grumpy and sad, and she's admitted to the hospital. To cheer her up, Chili shows a video from Bandit and Bluey, who have made a short video called Bumpy and the Wise Old Wolfhound. The scene then shifts inside the video with Bluey playing the character, Barnacus, who's looking for a puppy. She tells the shopkeeper about the pup, who suggests making a wish to the star. So she does just this, and voila, she gets a pup and names her Bumpy.
I will call you Bumpy.
However, Bumpy starts feeling sick, and Barnacus goes around asking for help from a fisherman, a builder, and finally, the shopkeeper. But no one has a clue on how to cure poor Bumpy. Later, she hears from the baker about the Wise Old Wolfhound. She visits the Wolfhound, who says she needs a pair of purple underpants from someone who's never been sick.
Bring me a pair of purple underpants.
After hearing this, she rushes to find somebody who's never got sick, only to realize that everyone has got ill at least once in their life. That's when she understands that the Wolfhound was showing her that being sick is just a part of life. So she goes back to Bumpy and takes care of her, and one fine day, Bumpy is cured. The video ends with the main cast bowing in unison, with Socks biting Bandit, which also wraps up the episode. In the episode Camping, we see the Healers along with the Stripe family on a camping trip. Bluey and Bingo are playing a pretend cafe but get interrupted by Muffin, who takes over the cafe and then kicks them out. Bluey strolls into the forest and finds a French-speaking Labrador. She doesn't understand a word, but still, they become friends.
Hi. Tu veux jouer avec moi? Huh?
They build a stick house, plant a seed, and even try to catch a wild bandit who's role-playing as a pig. At the end of the day, the Labrador introduces himself as Jean-Luc, and they say goodbye before joining their family. The next day, they finish building the hut and try to catch the wild bandit, but he's too clever and escapes, leaving them soaked. The day after that, Jean explains that they must catch the pig at all costs, which Bluey doesn't really understand. They come up with a plan and finally trap the wild bandit. In the evening, they both share a hug and say goodbye, not knowing that this will be the last time that they hang out. In the morning, Bluey sees the Sprout and runs to tell Jean, only to find his tent gone. Chili tells her that she saw Jean's family packing up, which leaves Bluey heartbroken. Later that night, Bluey looks at the stars and wonders if she'll ever see Jean again. Chili consoles her that special people come and leave, but memories of them stay forever. Then we get a quick montage of the seed growing into a tree, and we also see a grown-up Bluey sitting under the tree with Muffin's book. As she's reading the book, she hears a voice and looks up to find Jean-Luc on the other side. And with that, the episode comes to an end. Diving right into the next episode, Neighbors, Bluey's busy building a house with cushions, which includes a bookcase and a reading room. Bingo joins the fun too, and becomes her new neighbor. She starts filling the house with a lot of animals, and even Chili has her own home right next to her. With everybody joining, Bandit decides to join the party and make the neighborhood more lively, and I mean super lively. Just wait and see. Meanwhile, Bluey visits Chili for a pretend book club only to get interrupted by Bandit, who's revving his hot rod car. When Bluey returns back to her lair, she finds that Bingo has taken it over. She's really annoyed and calls Chili for help, who's already dealing with Bandit, who's barking.
What's all that noise?
Oh, it's my neighbor! He's, well...
Later, he starts playing drums and even jumps on it. While all of this is going on, Bluey brings Chili to show her how far Bingo's animals have invaded her place. Instead of fighting back, Chili tells her to ask Bingo nicely to get it back. She knows how to do it by politely asking Bandit to fix the hole that he made using his pretend chainsaw. At first, Bandit's like, not happening today, bud. But after some intense eye contact, He agrees to take care of it. Bluey tries the same with Bingo, and surprise, surprise, it works. In the end, all the extra animals go to Bandit's place in exchange for all of his toys, and the neighborhood is finally peaceful with everyone enjoying their time. Now to the final episode of the first season, Veranda Santa. The entire Heeler family's lying around with Bluey trying to make a quick peek at a Christmas present. Bandit stops her and reminds her to be a good girl to get it from Santa. Later, Bluey tells Muffin that Santa comes in through the veranda, which gives Bingo an idea of playing a game of Veranda Santa. The kids rush to the bedroom along with Bandit, and they take turns playing the game. When it's Bingo's turn, Socks joins her and becomes a helper. However, Socks accidentally bites Bluey, which upsets her. Bandit tells her to brush it off, but Bluey's taking it to heart. She decides to become Santa and gives everyone except, you guessed it right, Socks. Bluey taunts her that Santa doesn't give gifts to kids that bite, making her run away. Seeing this, Chili and Bandit have a pep talk with Bluey. They take her outside to show her how sad Socks is, and Bandit asks her to think how she would feel if somebody did that to her. Realizing her mistake, she apologizes to Socks, who forgives her with a little lick, and they hug each other. The episode ends with Bandit pretending to be Santa with the Heelers, only they get tricked into an all-out pillow fight. Moving into Season 2, the first episode, Dance Mode, kicks off with the Heelers out having lunch at a local restaurant. When Bingo ducks to pick her crayons, Bandit eats her last chip, leaving Bingo devastated as she wanted to eat it. Bandit and Chili try to make it up to her and offer a reward. Bluey suggests a game of Dance Mode, where a person should dance in public whenever music plays.
I know. Dance mode.
But there's a catch. Only 3 dance modes can be used for the day. The whole family is up for it, and Chili is up first and is made to dance on the road, thanks to Bluey. After some time, they're at a post office and Chili finds a musical greeting card. She convinces Bingo to use the dance mode on Bandit. Initially, she hesitates, but Chili's pleased face does the trick, and Bandit starts dancing frantically. Even the postal worker's embarrassed. Jeez. And with that, 2 game modes are done and dusted. They walk outside and see a guy playing a Xylophone, and Bingo is excited. Just when she's about to use her final dance mode, Bandit stops her and offers her $20 for the last dance mode, which she reluctantly accepts. The Heelers go to a shop, and Bluey takes Bingo into buying a yes or no button toy. Seeing Bingo sad, Chili questions her, and she spills the beans that everybody's making decisions for her. She also reveals that she wasn't okay with giving up her last dance mode.
Like when I took your last chip?
Yes.
And I took one of your dance modes.
Yes.
Hearing this, the whole family apologizes to Bingo and decides to make it up to her. They head to the Xylophone guy and start dancing in front of the whole crowd, with Bandit doing this. What is that? Episode 9, Bingo, is a special one that starts off with Bingo taking the spotlight instead of Bluey. Now in this episode, we see Bluey heading off to be with Chloe, while Chili stays behind to take care of some toilet trouble. That leaves poor Bingo on her own, and even she's not sure what to do. She tries to pass the time by messing around until her foot gets stuck in the railing. Chili helps her out and suggests having a snack. She goes to the fridge and has the most dramatic standoff known to man. Or should I say, known to dog. She doesn't know whether she's going to choose blueberries or raspberries, so it's pretty intense stuff. In the end, she does pick blueberries, eats them, and sets off to play again. Back to Chili, she's struggling to fix the broken toilet and suddenly hears a door close. She asks Bingo what she's up to, and figures out that she's playing hide and seek with no one to find her. Seeing Bingo upset, Chili tells her that she doesn't need a game, but a problem. Bandit returns right on time, and chimes in saying that Bluey wants to know what color the kiwis are. Bingo runs off to solve it using her word map puzzle, while Bandit helps to fix the broken tile. She almost finishes the puzzle, but finds the New Zealand piece missing. So she makes a missing piece poster and sticks it everywhere, including on the fridge. Meanwhile, Blue returns and spots the missing poster in front of the house. She then hugs Bingo and finds the missing piece stuck right on her back. Bingo completes the puzzle, and New Zealand has a little brown kiwi on it. The girls celebrate, and the episode ends with the toilet finally flushing. Now that's what I call a productive day. Now to the next fun episode, Army. This one's quite interesting as we're introduced to a new character, Jack, who just had his first day at Bluey's school. After coming back, he talks about his day with his mother, sharing everything that happened at school. He starts with a car ride with his dad and sister, which doesn't really go well, as his sister makes fun of him for forgetting his hat again. After reaching school, Calypso nudges Jack to introduce himself to another kid, Rusty. So you see, Rusty is pretending to be in the army and immediately puts Jack to the test. Surprisingly, Jack's quite good at it, so Rusty recruits him. He even gives Jack a spare army hat, telling him not to lose it. Rusty teaches all the basic stuff like hand signals, push-ups, code names, and also how to call helicopters. Wow, this kid knows a lot. Though Jack kind of struggles in the beginning, he gets used to it, and even likes doing the sentry duty. Later, they share some snacks, and Rusty explains that he's quite good at army stuff, since his dad's actually in it. They continue their army game, but suddenly run into a turkey, and Rusty shouts that they're surrounded. They take cover, and Rusty asks Jack for the code name for the helicopter pickup. Jack struggles to remember it and blurts out Tango 7, which turns out to be right.
Tango 7! We're next to Tango 7. Over. Great work, Recruit Russell.
However, the copter can't make it to them, so they have to make a run to the treehouse. And this is when Jack shows his true potential, as he leaves Rusty a whole mile behind. In the treehouse, Rusty asks Jack why he joined the school, to which Jack admits that he can't sit still or remember stuff. Rusty encourages him, telling him that he's great at playing Army, which puts a smile on Jack's face. Now back to the present. Jack asks his mom whether he can have the condensed milk. She's surprised and asks where he got it from, to which he replies that Rusty gave it to him. Looks like Rusty gave Jack the best first day possible. Moving on to the next episode, Bus, we see the Healers playing a pretend game in their living room. This time, Bandit is a bus driver, and Chili's a passenger who takes the bus every day, because she is a secret crush on the driver. Right then, Bluey and Bingo join them with their silly granny personas, Janet and Rita. After boarding the bus, Janet tries to get Chili to confess her feelings, but Chili isn't budging, so Janet pulls the bus stop cord on purpose multiple times to make Chili confess her love. Bandit's annoyed and threatens to kick them out if they pull the stop cord. Just then, Rita announces that something called Boopsy is missing, which leaves Chili confused. As it turns out, Boopsy is her snake, which attacks Bandit, sending him tumbling off the bus. Using this opportunity, Rita takes over the driving, while Chili helps Bandit to get into the bus. Rita reveals that she's eaten the brakes, which means that she can't stop the bus. With no other option, Bandit and Chili grab the little grannies and jump off the bus.
But now I think I'm gonna tell you today. I'd like to get married and have your bus babies.
Oh.
After their daring escape, Janet asks whether Chili finally admitted her feelings. However, Chili admits she does, but finds out that Bandit is already married to a giraffe. The grannies go Super Saiyan and start whacking Bandit. Turns out they've really taken the whole granny thing really seriously. In the episode Sleepy Time, Chili's reading a wholesome story of a chick and its mother. Bingo's not satisfied yet, so they read a new book together about space. They finish reading the book, and Bingo drifts into her dream world where she cracks open from the earth like an egg. The moon also hatches, and it comes out of her stuffed bunny Floppy, and they both embrace each other. Meanwhile, Bluey wakes up and heads to her parents' room for a glass of water. She falls asleep on Chili's side, so Chili goes to the girls' room and takes Bluey's bed. Now, back to Bingo's dream, she and Floppy are exploring Uranus. She sleeps on it and pulls part of it like it's a blanket. In reality, she has also climbed into her parents' bed and is sleeping between Bluey and Bandit. As she rolls around happily, Bluey and Bandit pull the blanket at the same time, launching Bingo up in the air. After exploring Uranus, Bingo and Floppy head to Jupiter and check it out by giving it a few slaps, which, is actually Bandit's face. But Bingo is not done yet. She starts climbing his back, and Bluey joins in too. By now, Bandit has had enough and swats them off, pushing Bluey away. But Bingo keeps on going and hits Bandit's you-know-what, which wakes him up. He carries Bingo back to bed, while she's hugging Jupiter's core in her dream. Bluey wakes up due to nature's call and wants Bandit to sing a song for her.
And if one of these bottles should happen to fall, they'll be 90.
When they return, they find Bingo back in their bed, and Bandit has to sleep on the floor. Bluey also rolls over and takes the blanket along with her. This creates a freezing situation for Bingo, but when she catches a glimpse of the sun, she sets off to find it. On the way, she passes the planet Saturn, whose rings are made up of thousands of floppies, and Floppy floats off to join them, leaving Bingo behind. Suddenly, a comet takes her to the sun, which looks like a glowing version of her mom, Chili, who's also hugging her in real life. She tells her that she will always be there for her, and Bingo floats back to a broken Earth. She tries to fix it, but struggles. Meanwhile, Chili finds Floppy in the hallway and returns it back to Bingo. This helps Bingo, as Floppy and its friends arrive to aid her in putting the Earth back together. The episode ends with a montage of the Healer family sleeping peacefully, with the sun quietly rising for the day. Alright, to the next one, Grandad. The episode opens up with Chili along with Bluey and Bingo heading to Grandpa's home. She reminds Bluey to eat the pumpkin seeds, but Bluey doesn't like it and tells her it's up to her whether she eats them or not. She then asks if their grandpa can take them to the canoe, to which Chili replies that Grandpa has to rest due to his surgery. They arrive at Grandpa's house only to find him chopping wood instead of taking a rest. This worries Chili, and she tries to stop him, but Grandpa runs into the forest with Bluey and Bingo. The trio hide under a tree and plan to reach the canoe before covering themselves with mud to hide their presence. Along the way, the kids get hungry, so Grandpa reveals his secret food stash and gives Bluey the pumpkin seeds, which she refuses to eat again. Meanwhile, Chili tracks them down using footprints and fur, and starts chasing them. They run into Grandpa's buddy Maynard, and the trio hide in the shed, while Chili confronts the poor guy. Just then, Maynard's fish rod starts moving, and Grandpa and the kids run towards the canoe to escape. They make it just in time, and Chili's forced to jump into the lake to catch them. The kids help paddle the canoe away since Grandpa's finding it difficult with his sore hands. They reach the other side, and Grandpa decides it's time to stop playing the game. Chili arrives and watches the kids swim with Grandpa keeping an eye. She joins them, and Bluey tells her mom that she'll eat the pumpkin seeds from now on. The episode wraps up with Chili remembering the days when Grandpa used to bring her to the same spot and they share a nostalgic moment together. In the episode Seesaw, we see Bluey, Bingo, and Pom Pom at the park, playing a game called Laundry. Chili's playing with them, and the kids pretend like they're clothes hanging on a line. The girls jump off and act as if the wind has blown them away. Chili chases after them, but Pom Pom finds it difficult to climb over a ledge as she's a small Pomeranian. Aw, I like Pom Pom. Feeling left out, she decides to abandon the game and joins her mother, who's chatting with Bandit. Meanwhile, Bluey and Bingo find a seesaw and start going up and down. Seeing Pom Pom sad, Bandit decides to help in his own way. He pushes Bingo aside and sits on the seesaw like a playground bully. Bluey and Bingo team up to try to lift him by sitting on the same side, but they're not heavy enough. So they bring in Chloe, Coco, and Snickers, but still they can't lift the big guy. On top of this, Bandit keeps adding silly things like a rock, which he named Rodney, and a tiny pebble as his pet. With no other option, they turn to Pom Pom, and they call her for help. She struggles to climb the seesaw, but in the end, her small size is somehow enough to lift Bandit into the air. Then the kids jump off the seesaw simultaneously, bringing Bandit back down. In the evening, the girls are playing a new game called Flies and Spiders, and Pom Pom wants to be a spider too. Judo dismisses her, saying that she's too small to play. Bluey stands up for her and helps her to become a spider, and with that, the episode ends. In Barky Boats, we see the students gathered outside the Glass House Primary School with their teacher, Calypso, telling them that they're going to meet their school buddy. The kids are excited, and Bluey finds her buddy, Mia, on top of the hill. Mia lifts her up, and Bluey suggests they build a fairy garden.
Can we build a fairy garden?
Okay, let's go.
Meanwhile, Mackenzie meets up with his friend Captain, and they decide to play a game called Barky Boats. The pair run into each other, and Mia and Captain have a little chat, but somebody's not really liking it. They part ways, and Captain asks Mackenzie if he wants to help with the fairy garden, secretly wanting to hang out with Bluey and Mia. But Mackenzie gives a big fat no. Back to Bluey, she learns that Mia is 12 and will be leaving for a big school. She asks Mia if she can write a letter to the fairies since she doesn't know how to write yet. Mackenzie and Captain arrive, and ask if there's any bark that they can use to play Barky Boats, but Bluey doesn't like it and tells them to go away. But after they leave, Mia finds some bark and brings Bluey along with her to give to the boys. Now Mackenzie's not happy with Bluey around. Then the older kids run away in the excuse of finding barking boats. Their teacher, Calypso, finds the kids moody and explains that being 12 is a difficult age and makes Bluey and Mackenzie understand the meaning behind it.
Then 9, then 10, then 11, then...
I can't hold it any longer. I can't.
Woo!
While all this is going on, Captain and Mia share a brief moment, hoping that they will stay close even in the new school. They remember that they have left the younglings behind and return to find Bluey and Mackenzie bickering again. But this time, they're having fun. Bluey gives Mackenzie a hug and rejoins with Mia to finish the fairy letter. In the letter, she asks them to take care of Captain and Mia, which makes Mia tear up and give Bluey a big, warm hug. Now that one was a little emotional, so let's crank up the fun with the next episode, Circus, where we see the healers going to vote as it's election day. The girls try to convince their parents to vote based on how good looking the candidates are.
Oh, don't pick that one. I don't like his smile. Pick her. She's got earrings.
Chili chimes in, saying that leadership is more important, and Bandit adds that a good leader knows how to give orders, something Bingo's not a huge fan of. They meet up with the other kids and play a game called Circus, with each one of them picking a role. Bluey is the ringmaster, Mackenzie's the lion tamer, Honey's the lion, Coco's the acrobat, and finally Bingo is the spectator. On the other side, Winton's stuck playing motorbike with Hercules, who doesn't seem to care to switch roles. The circus game begins, but soon they start arguing about their roles, and the whole game starts to fall apart. Meanwhile, Winton sneaks away from Hercules and joins the circus, wanting to act like a clown. They accept him, but Hercules is annoyed and forces them to play his game.
Yes, I can. Now lie down, Jumps.
The kids become frustrated, and Bluey tells them that they need someone strong like Hercules as a helper. He agrees to join the game, and solves the lion-tamer problem between Mackenzie and Honey. They start playing motorbikes, and the episode ends with Bluey and Bingo having sausages as they head home after a fantastic day. In the episode Cafe, we see Bluey making a new friend, Winnie, in the playground. They get along really well and ask their dads to play Cafe together. So Bandit and Winnie's dad Fido join the kids, but there's an awkward tension between them whether to be friends or not. Bluey asks Bandit if they can go to Winnie's house for breakfast, but Bandit comes up with an excuse, leaving Bluey visibly disappointed.
She invited me.
Oh, no, mate, we gotta get home, actually.
At breakfast, Bandit explains it takes time to become friends, and Chili chimes in saying that the cafe is the best spot to get close. Slowly, the dads start hitting it off, and also play with the girls at the end of the day. During breakfast, Bluey asks whether Bandit is friends with Fido. However, Bandit still isn't very sure about that. The next day, Bingo joins them, but doesn't feel like playing and drags Bandit away. So Bandit is left with playing swings while the rest play cafe as usual. The following day, Bingo sleeps in, so Bandit and Bluey Bluey head to the playground, only to find Winnie and Fido missing. As they're about to leave, Winnie and Fido show up. After hearing that they're leaving, they get disappointed. So Bandit hesitantly invites Fido and Winnie for breakfast, which they gladly accept. The episode ends with Bluey giving Winnie a piggyback ride as the dads have their regular dad talk with a sip of an imaginary smoothie. Well, at least Bandit can't get his imaginary drink knocked over, like back at the barbecue. In the next episode, Baby Race, we're at the playground, with Bluey comparing herself to Bingo and Judo. Chili tells her to stop comparing herself and to run her own race, which reminds her of when Bluey was a teeny little baby.
Come here. Have I told you the story of when you took your first steps?
Oh no!
Chili narrates the story and reveals that Bluey rolled over early, making her very proud. But when she met up with the other mothers, she found out that Judo was already sitting up, and at that moment she felt like a competition's going on, a baby race. From then on, Chili wanted Bluey to be the first at everything. Spoiler alert, it doesn't happen. When Bluey did finally sit up, Judo had already started crawling. As time passed, Bluey was rolling, bum shuffling, and crawling backward instead of crawling properly. This concerns Chili, making her feel like a bad mom. Seeing her upset, Coco's mom reminds her that she's doing good and asks her to let Bluey take her own pace. Chili breaks down and decides to let go of the pressure and start enjoying the journey. The episode wraps up with Chili revealing that Bluey's first walk was actually taken in their kitchen, which tears her up again. The final episode of Season 2, Easter, starts off with Bluey and Bingo getting ready for bed for tomorrow's special day. However, Bingo's worried that the Easter Bunny might forget them, just like last year. Bandit reads out the letter left by the bunny, who promises that it's not going to happen again.
Dear Bluey and Bingo, so sorry I was late with your Easter eggs. I had some family stuff on.
The parents leave, but still, Bingo can't sleep, and asks Bluey whether they'll be remembered this time around. Bluey reassures her that the bunny will not forget them, and goes to sleep. The next morning, the girls wake up and check the pouches, which are, drumroll, empty. However, Bluey finds an empty box, while Bingo finds the letter B in her pouch. They put them together and figure out the next clue is in the letterbox. In the box, they find a chatterbox, which leads them to the kitchen. Over there, Bingo finds out that the fridge magnets are suspiciously shaped like a big egg. They open the fridge and find a kiwi fruit in the carton box, which reminds them of a kiwi rug in the playroom. They spot an arrow pointing to the garden, and Bluey finds the flowers are lined up like a castle. Bingo tells her that the sandcastle is the key, so Bluey starts digging only to find toilet paper. At this point, the bunny is simply trolling the girls. Still, they don't give up and rush to the bathroom, and still, nothing's there. They realize that the next clue might be in Bandit's bathroom, but they're too scared to go in there. Nah, not a bandit, but due to the stink. Gross. Since someone has to do it, Bluey sneaks in and spots a shape drawn on the mirror. She gives the drawing to Bingo, which is similar to their stained glass window, so the girls check their room. However, they still can't find a single egg. Feeling disappointed, Bingo starts blaming herself, but Bluey cheers her up. Just then, Bluey spots the glitter footprint on the floor and follows the trail all the way to a nearby room. When they push the yoga ball, they find a big Easter basket full of chocolate, and Bingo's finally relieved that the big bunny remembered them after all. Now we head into Season 3, with the episode Born Yesterday, where we see Chili doing yoga. Everything's going nice and chill until Bluey and Bingo show up, pretending they're tourists, and start taking pictures of her bum. Chili's not having it, and tells them it's not very polite to do that. She adds that she's been on the planet a lot longer than they have, which is just a grown-up way of saying, trust me. Bandit walks in, and Bluey asks him the same question, and Bandit replies that he wasn't born yesterday.
No chance, kid. I wasn't born yesterday.
Huh? You weren't born what?
This gives Bluey an idea of playing a game where they pretend Bandit was born yesterday. So their dad starts acting like he's living the second day on Earth. He doesn't know what a name or food is, treating the stool and strawberry like a living thing. They head outside, and Bandit is shocked to see the sun, assuming it's a large fireball. Later, they introduce him to the swing, which doesn't go well as he ends up hurting himself. They go for a walk, and the girls introduce him to cars and birds, all kinds of stuff. But Bandit, being Bandit, tells a random lady at the bus stop to not worry about the sun as it's supposed to be there. Alright, that's pretty funny. The poor lady is super confused, and the girls have to drag him away. Meanwhile, Lucky's dad is on the way, and Bandit literally grabs the snack and takes a big bite. Bluey explains to Bandit that he simply can't just take other people's stuff. Still, Bandit doesn't get it. So she also pulls the same trust us bro card, and the trio goes to the park.
Why?
Well, because we've been on this planet longer than you.
In the park, Bandit's playing with a leaf, holding it to the sun, and is amazed at how beautiful it is. They head home, and the girls are satisfied with the Born Yesterday act, and start unpacking the dishwasher. Chili's impressed and asks if Bandit's done playing their game. Bluey replies with a yes, but looks like Bandit is still in the zone, happily staring at another leaf. Come on, you can't blame him. He was born yesterday after all. In episode 7, Mini Bluey, it's a chaotic morning at the healer's place, courtesy of Bluey's ear-deafening singing. Meanwhile, Bingo's being calm and silent, and Bandit's left left wondering why they're so different. He even jokes wishing that they could be more alike, which gives the girls a new idea. Bluey colors Bingo using some chalk, presenting her as Mini Bluey. Now, in Bluey's colors, Bingo starts mimicking her sister's actions like dancing, singing, and being straight up annoying. They head outside, and Bandit asks for help. Initially, though, Bluey stops Bingo and even refuses to help, but Bandit knows exactly how to get them into action.
Well, you know all that food in the fridge? That doesn't belong to you either. But if you want to keep eating it, I suggest you get to work.
Still, the girls act like they're being lazy and whine through the whole thing. Frustrated, Bandit puts water on Mini Bluey and demands double Bingos instead of 2 Blueys. This gives the girls another idea, and voila! Big Bingo is born. Bluey starts acting just like Bingo by being calm and helpful. Bandit jokingly says he prefers 2 Bingos, which upsets Bluey. In the bedroom, Bingo convinces her sister that she can be annoying too. She uses sticky tape and fake teeth, creating a creepy face that spooks the parents.
Bingo! What? Stop it! You're freaking me out!
They demand the girls that all they need is 1 Bluey and 1 Bingo. Now satisfied, they return to normal. But when the parents see them, they're greeted by Mini Bluey and Big Bingo. Alright, now to episode Unicorse. After putting the girls to bed, Chili and Bandit get ready to spend some time alone, only to find Bluey still wide awake, and even plotting to get rid of sleeping altogether. Since that's definitely not happening anytime soon, Chili offers her another bedtime story. She starts telling the story only to be interrupted by Unicorse, the annoying hand puppet unicorn. Bluey's thrilled, but Chili, well, she's really not a big fan. She starts pulling antics and can't even get people's names right, which annoys Chili. However, Bluey convinces her to let Unicorse stay, promising to take care of it if it starts disturbing her again. Chili agrees but insists that she'll only read from her book, not the one that Unicorse recommended. She starts reading the story, but Unicorse blocks the storybook, spoils the plot, and makes fun of it during a sad part of the story.
And the ending's boring. She just makes
Don't spoil the ending.
Why not?
Because Bluey hasn't heard it.
To stop him, Bluey offers Unicorse his favorite food, which he chews loudly and overreacts when Bluey taps on his shoulder. He shouts that he's injured and threatens to call a lawyer. Chili tells Bluey to ignore Unicorse, who returns with his lawyer to make even more noise. Since no one's listening to him, the lawyer gets frustrated, and Unicorse gets mad. The episode ends with Bluey and Chili finishing the story and heading to bed, leaving the 2 puppets to argue with each other. In the episode Pass the Parcel, it's Lila's birthday party, and everybody's at the park to celebrate it. The kids get ready to play, but before they can, Lila's brother breaks the piñata, and Sheila, who's Lila's mom, has to fix it. So Pat takes charge of the game, but he's confused about how kids play the game nowadays. He finds out that the rules have changed with a small gift in every layer, and the music stops for each kid. And well, let's just say he's not really liking it.
Look, when I was a kid, there was only one... Okay, I'll stop! But this is not how you play Pass the Parcel.
On Chucky's birthday, Pat decides to take matters into his own hands and play the old way with just 1 prize. However, his wife is doubtful about whether the kids will like it or not. The game starts, and Bingo opens the first layer only to find nothing. Immediately, she starts crying, and so do the other kids as they run to their parents. Pat starts panicking and bribes everybody to gain control. While this is going on, Jasper wins a water gun and is already loving this new rule. In the car, Bingo says she liked the party, except for passing the parcel with Pat's rule. Now it's Jasper's party, and he wants to play it Pat's way. They follow the same rule in Buddy's party, and Lila wins it. Bingo's upset, but still happy for her. Next up is Bluey's birthday, and Bluey lets Bingo choose the way she wants to play. On the day of the party, Pat gets the honor of starting the game, and the one Bingo chose is Pat's rule. The game starts, and Bingo almost loses, but in the end, she finally wins a birdie kite. And what a better way to end the episode. Moving on to the next episode, Onesies, Chili's dancing with the girls while reminiscing about her days with her sister Brandy. Right then they hear a bell ring and find Brandy visiting them after 4 years. She looks more like Bingo.
Who do I look like?
You look just like you.
She brings presents along with her, which are a pair of animal onesies. However, Bluey's cheetah onesie and Bingo's zebra onesie don't fit well, so Chili asks them to swap. However, before the sisters can say anything, Bingo goes full-on cheetah mode and starts attacking everybody. Bandit is already down, and the others take refuge in the car. They try to chat in the car, but Bingo has become one with her onesie, finds them again. They hide behind the shed, and Bluey asks why her aunt didn't get a cheetah one. Brandy replies that Bluey used to like zebras, to which Chili reminds her that she hasn't seen her for 4 years. This upsets Brandy, who decides to leave only to get pounced on by Bingo. Bluey and Chili run and hide in the bathtub, where Bluey confronts Chili on why Brandy is sad.
Why did Auntie Brandy want to leave? Is she sad?
Chili tells her that there's something Brandy wants but can't have, just like how the cheetah onesie didn't fit Bluey. Later, they return to the yard to check on Brandy, but it's all just a trap set by Bingo, who attacks Chili and chases after Bluey. Finally, the sisters get to talk, and Brandy apologizes for staying away, which Chili accepts. They hear Bluey's cry for help, so they decide to distract the cheetah with their silly dance, which they used to do when they were kids. Meanwhile, Bluey starts acting like a zebra and dodges Bingo's attack. However, Bingo grabs her tail, and just when it seems like Bingo's gonna devour her, at least playfully, Chili and Brandy do their dance on the porch. This stops Bingo, and the kids join their performance while Bandit's busy scrolling on his phone, probably watching some TikTok videos on how to control wild animals. I don't know. Alright, now to the next one, tradies. We find Bluey and Bingo just chilling on the lawn like any other day. Suddenly, 2 cars roll up, and out comes 2 dogs, and the girls assume that they're here to invade their home and start barking.
Enemies! Back at them!
Unfortunately, it doesn't work, and the tradies keep walking, ignoring the girls. The girls spy from the stairs while Chili's talking with men who say the job will take 3 to 4 days. Later, Chili tells the girls that they're going to build a fish pond and asks them to keep an eye on the tradies to make sure they don't slack off. They give them nicknames like Big Belt and Chocolate Milk, and complain to Chili that Chocolate Milk's texting way too much. The girls spy on Chocolate Milk and find out that he's texting someone called Cherry, but Chili thinks otherwise and believes that maybe the couple had a fight and he's trying to patch things up. The next day, Chocolate Milk shows up in Big Belt's car, and the girls continue their spying work. Right then, an ice cream truck rolls in, and the tradies take a break to enjoy a sweet treat. Bluey and Bingo ask their mother for ice cream, but she tells them no.
Can we have one?
No.
Ooh, that's harsh. Spying's hungry work, you know. Luckily, Chocolate Milk's busy with the phone, so Big Belt gives it to the sisters, who admit they're on a spy mission. Big Belt's cool about it and reveals that Chippy, aka Chocolate Milk, and Cherry are trying to be friends again. Chili busts them for eating the ice cream without her permission and reveals Big Belt's real name is Sparky. After 3 whole days, the pond is finally done, and the kids are loving it. As the tradies leave, the girls find Cherry and Chippy talking with each other. Looks like the couple have decided to give it one more try. With that all done, let's move on to the next episode, Granny Mobile, where we get to see Bluey and Bingo's granny making a return along with Muffin. The episode stars the Healer family heading home when they spot their neighbor Doreen selling some stuff in her yard, just like your typical yard sale. She reveals that she's trying to raise money for a holiday on the reef. The kids decide to play grannies, and since it's Muffin's first time, Bluey suggests that she be the grouchy one. Honestly, that role is perfect for her.
That's not fair! I know I wouldn't get to be a granny!
It fits way too well. She starts rolling around in a granny mobile, pushed by none other than Bandit. Meanwhile, Doreen's struggling to negotiate with the buyers as she's too nice to charge fair or higher than the actual price. While all this is going on, a real grouchy granny storms in, breaks some stuff, and yells at Doreen and Chili. To add insult to injury, she even says she's not paying a cent and calls Bandit fat.
You need to lay off the biscuits.
What? You said I was looking good.
You are, honey. Ignore her.
Wow, this granny is actually crazy. The grouchy granny spots Muffin's scooter and wants to buy it, but Muffin's not letting it slide and refuses to sell unless she's willing to cough up $900. The 2 grouchies argue, and eventually Muffin bargains her way up to a whopping $1,200 and 18 lollies. That is a sweet deal.
1,200!
What?
And 18 lollies!
Oh, you cheeky little... Fine.
As it turns out, that cash is more than enough for Doreen's reef trip. They can't believe that Muffin has literally pulled the deal of the century. As a token of thanks, Doreen asks Muffin to take whatever she wants from the yard sale. Muffin's excited and settles for a tea towel and becomes Super Granny, helping Bingo pick the fallen coins. The episode wraps up with Bandit trying to buy some exercise gear for $20, only for Doreen to counter with 50, showing that she has finally learned how to negotiate. Moving on to the next episode, Space, we see the boys, Mackenzie, Jack, and Rusty, playing the space game on a wooden boat. They assigned roles to each other, starting with Rusty as the captain, followed by Jack acting as the computer, and Mackenzie getting the role of the chief scientist.
Rusty, you can be the captain.
Okay, what can I be?
How about you're the chief scientist?
As the trio plans their upcoming mission, they think about traveling either to Mars or the black hole. Jack chimes in, saying that no one really knows what's inside a black hole, which makes Mackenzie think. During their space journey, Mackenzie keeps on interrupting the game and even detaches his yarn tether. Rusty rescues him, and they continue the game, finally landing on Mars.
Landing in 3, 2, 1.
But still, Mackenzie is kinda distracted. He suddenly walks away and pretends that Rusty and Jack abandoned him. He tells them that he wanted to pretend like he was left behind. but he doesn't know why he wants to do that. Rusty and Jack encourage him to join them, telling him that they need help from their chief scientist. Mackenzie joins them and puts them into hypersleep before changing the ship's course to the black hole. When the boys wake up, they find Mackenzie missing again, who has run off to a nearby tunnel. Rusty and Jack catch up to him and offer to help, only to get rejected by Mackenzie. Rusty reluctantly leaves, while Mackenzie starts his exploration into the black hole. Once inside, he recalls a painful memory, a time when he was sure that his mom had left him behind on the playground. But Calypso arrives and consoles him, telling him that his mom is still here, and the memory fades away. Right then, Bluey and the other kids show up dressed as an alien and pretend to drag him in, but big boy Rusty pulls him out and returns him to the ship. The episode wraps up with Mackenzie thinking about what Calypso told him, and this time, he's finally ready to conquer whatever comes his way. Listeners, if you couldn't tell, this episode is one of my favorites. The next episode, Dirt, opens up with Judo getting a bath from her mom, Wendy. And like most dogs, she's not loving it. With the hair drying done, Wendy tells Judo to go play and warns her not to get dirty. When she looks out the window, she finds the Healer sisters going crazy in a giant pile of dirt. Judo's pretty tempted to join in, but remembers Wendy's no dirt rule and tells the sisters that she can't get dirty. So the girls drag Judo into a tub and push her down the hill. She's enjoying it, but the Healers are finding it difficult. Then the sisters start doing dirt imprints, and Judo wants to do it too. She heads home and asks Wendy why she can't get dirty. Wendy replies that it takes ages to clean their lovely hair.
Because we have such long hair. It just takes so long to clean it.
But Bluey and Bingo aren't giving up. They create a full dirt-proof outfit for Judo, which helps her make a dirt imprint. Just then, Bandit joins them and starts splashing water on the dirt, turning it into mud. Wendy shows up and the girls ask her to allow Judo to play in the mud. After a lot of thinking, she lets Judo play. However, Judo leaves without saying a word. Seeing her daughter upset, Wendy grabs some scissors and gives herself a haircut. Judo loves it and chops her hair off too, before joining the Healers to finally twist and roll in the mud. Moving on to the next episode, TV Shop. The episode kicks off with Bandit picking up Bluey from school, who mentions that Coco wasn't doing very well today. Bandit tells her that they have to stop at the chemist to pick up some vitamins, as he's already feeling like an old man. Bluey and Bingo get confused and think that the chemist is more like a bakery.
I thought the bakery sells fruit and carrots. Oh yeah, that's right.
They reach the store and find a security camera feed, which is more than enough for them to start their goofy shenanigans. Suddenly the feed changes and they spot Coco sitting near the pharmacy. The girls start dancing and try waving, but Coco doesn't look up. Then the feed changes again, and this time it shows the terriers followed by Winton. They notice each other and join the dance party, all except Coco, who's still wearing her headphones. To make Coco notice, Bluey sends Bingo to find her like a spy mission. On the way, Bingo bumps into Winton and the terriers. They team up to track Coco, however, even with Bluey's help, they just can't find her. When they're about to give up, Bluey spots Coco near Bingo with only one shelf away. Bandit shows up, telling Bluey that he's done with shopping, but Bluey's hesitant to leave as she wants to meet Coco first. Bandit, being Bandit, casually points at Coco, who's just sitting behind a newspaper rack. She runs over to Coco and they start dancing along with Winton and the terriers in the live feed. As they head out, Bandit asks Bluey how Coco's doing, to which Bluey replies by saying that she might have worms. Oh, Bluey, come on. Some things are meant to be private. Now to the penultimate episode of the season, The Sign. We see Bandit playing with the girls. Chili shows up and interrupts them by telling them that they're here, and as it turns out, the Healers have put the house on sale, and the potential buyers are 2 sheepdogs, and Bucky, who's the agent in charge of selling it. On the way, Bluey's upset and tells her parents that she doesn't want to move. Chili tells her that they've got no other option, as Bandit's got a new job in another city. Bandit also chimes in, saying that it's better for their family, and Chili reassures her that it would be a fun adventure. At school, Calypso reads the story and finishes it with a happy ending. This prompts Bluey to wonder why all the stories end in that way, to which Calypso gives a very philosophical answer.
Well, I guess 'cause life will give us enough sad ones.
The kids start sharing their own stories, and Bluey blurts out that she's moving away. The kids start howling with Bluey. So Calypso reads a story about a farmer who's nonchalant with whatever happens in life. This cheers Bluey up a little bit, and she starts singing on the way home, only for Bucky to call and confirm that the sheepdogs want the house. Her joy fades, and during sleep time, she pleads with Bandit not to move. The next day, we see everybody getting ready for Radley and Frisky's wedding. So this guy, Radley, is Bandit's and Stripe's elder brother, while Frisky is Bluey's godmother. Stripe accidentally reveals that Radley wants Frisky to move out with him. This angers Frisky, who leaves to talk about it with Radley. Meanwhile, Muffin and the others join Bluey, who's sitting alone, thinking about leaving her home. Muffin gives her the idea that if they remove the signboard, then they might not have to move or sell the house. So the kids get into action and start removing the board. Long story short, it doesn't work. But surprisingly, Frisky helps the kids remove it, only to leave when Radley calls. She angrily hops in the car and leaves, telling the kids that the wedding is off. The kids tell Chili and they head out to find Frisky. Since there's no space in the back, Bluey gets to sit in the front seat for the first time, after checking whether they're breaking any law. Still, they get pulled over by a cop who lets them go and also tells them that Frisky got a speeding ticket. They start start looking for her favorite juice shop, but can't spot her. During their search mission, Muffin spills the watermelon juice, and Chili has to stop to clean the mess.
I gotta go.
Yuck, Frisky blue car.
Right then, they spot Frisky's car and start following her, only to lose her again, as this time, Socks needs a toilet stop. Eventually, they find Frisky thanks to Flappy, a butterfly, and Bluey begs her to go back to take down the sale sign. Chili explains that's not how it works, and admits that she doesn't want to leave the city either. In the end, Chili tells Bluey, "We'll see," just like the farmer in the story.
I guess we'll see.
The kids leave to have a look at the place using a pair of binoculars. While Frisky's praising Bluey, Radley appears and the couple make up, meaning the wedding is back on. The scene then shifts to the Healer house with guests arriving to celebrate the wedding. Chili's sister Brandy is pregnant, and Grandpa joins them too. While the celebration is going on, Radley and Frisky announce that they're not leaving the city, and the Healers dance the whole night. The next day, the agent guy shows up and sticks the sold sticker on the board. However, Bingo is shocked to learn that selling the house means that they also have to leave it. Even worse, she's crushed to learn that her friend Lila won't be moving with them. She tries to lift the sign out of the ground, but she can't do it. Bluey joins her and tells her the farmer's story to comfort her. While she's telling the story, the sheepdogs spot a better house with a pool and decide to reconsider their purchase. Bandit gets a phone call confirming the sale has fallen through and rips off the sold sticker before throwing the board away.
And then I start to break into a bit.
Chili and the kids run to him and give him a big hug. The girls go back inside and dance in their room, ecstatic that they get to stay. The episode wraps up with the Healers having their dinner on a cardboard box of packed items, showing that the house isn't just where they live. This is where they belong. Which brings us to the final episode of the season. Surprise. In this episode, we see Bingo trying to grab some stubby coolers from the top of the fridge to play mums and dads. Bandit strolls in only to get pounced on by the girls, who beg him to play with them. The girls are conflicted about what to play. Bingo wants to play mums and dads, while Bluey wants to play a game called Surprise, which is just blasting Bandit with a ball blaster. Bandit tries his best to juggle both, with Bingo slowly increasing her baby count from 1 to 3. He hears the doorbell ring and goes to check it out, only to get blasted by Bluey. He somehow makes his way to the safe zone, but forgets a baby at daycare, so he has to run again and fetch the baby with Bluey pelting balls at him. Unfortunately, Bandit trips on a bucket and falls down. He reaches Bingo's place, who gives him the 4th baby, telling him that he needs to go to the hospital. The hospital is the tree in the backyard, so Bandit heads over there and starts talking with the baby. He reassures him, saying that he'll be fine thanks to their loving family.
But don't worry, this won't hold you back. You know why? You've got a whole bunch of brothers and sisters who've got your back.
Bluey, who's behind the tree, eavesdrops on the conversation, and instead of blasting Bandit again, she declares that she'll help. Bandit's pleased, as he can finally watch his race. And the scene shifts to the future with the grown-up Bluey visiting her parents. They have a quick chat, and just as Bandit's about to close the doorbell rings. He opens to check it out, but there's no one there. But soon he hears a blaster charging up, and Bandit instantly knows what's coming next.
Oh no.
With that, the season comes to an end. This is the entire Bluey story so far, but it's not the end. New season's been confirmed, so who knows? We may have to revisit the Healer family in the future. Have a great day, folks. We'll see you next time. See ya.